got so much good content. I just want you to clarify and make sure I'm hearing it correctly. Ralph Abernathy, very, very close to Dr. King. You're saying in Ralph Abernathy's book, he acknowledges or says or claims Martin Luther King sleeping with multiple women before they I Have a Dream speech. Did I hear you correctly on that?
Yeah, no, it was the mountaintop speech. The mountaintop speech in Memphis the night before he died at the Lorraine Motel.
Gotcha.
He had done the mountaintop speech. They left. The cover story for that night was that they had gone to Ben Hooks' house, who was over the NAACP at the time. He was, well, I don't think he was over the NAACP, but he was a big black preacher in Memphis. And they said they had gone to Ben Hooks' house for dinner, and they had come back to the Lorraine Motel. But Abernathy said that was a lie. That was a cover story. Actually, they had gone to this lady's house. King went back there and slept with her. Then they went to the Lorraine Motel, and there was a lady there by the name, I think it was Georgia Powers. She was the first black senator from the state of Kentucky. And she was a sitting senator at that time. King saw her at the Lorraine Motel. She was there waiting for him. She wrote a book about this too, called "I Live the Dream," and she admits that she and King got together that night, had a tryst, a sexual tryst. Well, Dorothy Cotton, who they say was King's second wife, she saw all these shenanigans going on and she got mad about it. Now, Ralph Abernathy did not call her name, but later on in an interview, she admitted that it was her. She confronted King about all the stuff he was doing, and he beat her up in the Lorraine Motel. She left and went home. And later on that afternoon, when King got assassinated. And this is what Ralph Abernathy wrote. This is what he said. And it's just a fact. They have the FBI tapes of all the orgies and things that he was involved in because, of course, you know, they found out he was hanging out with communists, and they started putting these wiretaps in his room to make sure that the communists didn't have too much control over him. And they found out he was a libertine, that he was running around with these preachers and he was having all these orgies and all this kind of thing. And that's who he was.
So the King defenders will say, the founding fathers, they owned slaves. The founding fathers raped slaves. Who cares about, what they were doing in their personal life? My contention is I'm judging the founding fathers on the documents, the founding documents. And what's the legacy of those founding documents? The Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. And I look at those documents and say, I don't care about your personal life. If this is a representation of your life's work, the Declaration of Independence and U.S. Constitution, I'm on board with you because those documents were used to free me from slavery or free my ancestors from slavery in Jim Crow and segregation and all the discrimination. Those documents stand the test of time. Your argument, which I am on board with and agree with, but I don't want to be putting words in your mouth, but the 1964 Civil Rights Act, its legacy and what it justified, it's not the same as the Declaration of Independence and U.S. Constitution. The LGBTQ, the alphabet mafia, as I call them, have used that to promote same-sex marriage and transgenderism and all that other stuff, diversity, equity, inclusion, which is the enemy of merit. King's document that he gets credit for doesn't bear the same kind of great fruit that the Declaration of Independence and U.S. Constitution. And I think your argument is, that I agree with, is that perhaps King, because of his sexual perversions, was okay with the 64 Civil Rights Act bearing perverted fruit.
You're exactly right. Well, Jesus told his disciples, how will you know a false prophet? His answer was, you will know them by the fruit they bear. You will not get good fruit from a bad tree or bad fruit from a good tree. Each tree and its fruit will be after its own. When you look at the black community and you see that we have 5 times more men in prison than before Martin Luther King Jr., when you see that the black family has been destroyed, we had 80% of our children being born in wedlock before Martin Luther King. Now we have 80% being born out after King. When you look at the educational system, I did a podcast the other day showing that the educational department for the federal government says that 85% of our black children are not proficient in reading or in math. 85%. So the education system is destroyed. You look at that we are the poorest people in America, that an illegal can come over the Rio Grande and in 1 year make more money than a black man that's been over here for 20 generations. So our economy is destroyed. You look at what they've done to our church. The black church is dying. It's dying. I did a chapter on that in my book, Crime Inc. I talk about how the black church has been dying for the last 20 years. And so they destroyed the black church. What did they do well? Only one thing. Got a bunch of Marxists and perverts and psychopaths elected to the Democrat Party, which is what they wanted. That's why King is celebrated. You go to his monument in Memphis, Tennessee. There's no mention of God on it, not even that he's a reverend. That's not a mistake, man. That is a confession. They knew who they were. And if you go online and you look up Virgil Walker, Walker takes him to task on his Christianity, and he takes it apart and says the king was not a Christian. And he has documentation in his writings say he didn't believe in the virgin birth, he didn't believe in the resurrection, he didn't believe in the divinity of Christ. Now, this is what Virgil Walker says. He's a doctor, he studied King, and he hits him on the ecclesiastical side. I hit him more on, like you said, what the fruits of his political labor, what they produce. But then when you look at that and you look at his private life, you say it matches. You know, that he lived this way, his fruit produced this, and they both match. And the black community is in worse shape because of King, but that's what they wanted. They need to have black men emasculated. You saw the Super Bowl the other night, man. More people watched the Super Bowl than watched the dadgum moon landing. Who was out there playing, Jason? A bunch of brothers out there leading it on the field. And the reason why America loves those brothers is because they know they earned it. And you look at them and you know that you got this generation of supermen. They have the ability, mentally and physically, to have the whole world look at them and say, what did I just see? And you say, no. The Democrat Party, they can never know their power. If they ever know their power, we can never control them. And they've been emasculating us since we've been here. You know the story. I ain't got to tell you about it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what they've done to black men for the past 220 years. And it's all come down from the Democrat Party. The party of slavery from 1800 to 1860. The party of the Confederacy from 1860 to 1865. The party of Jim Crow from 1865 to 1965. And now, they're the party of murder, transgenderism, abortion up to the 9th month, an evil institution. What did they say in the book of Genesis when they found out that the children of Israel had gotten too large and was too many? They said, we got to deal with them. They went to the midwives and said, whenever you see a boy child, kill him. Kill him. In the head, in the body, wherever. But make sure you take his life. And they've been killing us for the last 220 years in this country. But now, Jason, me and you gonna wake them up. And we're gonna choose life.